Again, like I said in my box office predictions, who would have thunk Sonic the Hedgehog 3 would completely destroy a Disney movie like Mufasa, A Lion King story? And people are saying, oh no, Lion King won't get 47 million. It'll be higher. Nah, no it won't. Not with Sonic doing this good. Chase Lehocky here with the Blue Futon reviewing Sonic the Hedgehog 3 in 4DX. Pretty simple premise. This is kind of right after the second one, but now we're adding Shadow, Eggman's grandpapa, and we're trying to figure out what occurred in Shadow's past to make him this just cynical of the world. So let's talk about the 4DX first. Good. It's really good. Not a lot of water effects because there's not a lot of water scenarios. Maybe he wanted to here and there, but it's mostly for the movement. And I will say the movement's good, but it's not as chaotic as Sonic himself. So what I mean by that is when you watch like Twisters or Twister or that Deadpool scene or those other scenes where this chair's just going freaking bonkers. Here, it goes bonkers, but it ain't like craziness, which I kind of understand that because this is a kid's movie and they don't want the kids literally falling out of the seats. Because there is a lot of action set pieces in this movie in space, on land, underwater. Yeah, underwater, maybe, maybe not. But you have the, Sonic just moving fast as crap, and you expect a lot of movements. Yeah, there's a lot of good movements, but it ain't jankiness for that reason. So, yes, if your kids do like mini roller coasters and things like that, I highly recommend Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And I think they'll be able to sustain it. Moana 2 is probably worse in my opinion. Worse when it comes to movement itself, like a lot more sporadic movements. But I think Sonic will have a very much better impact because it is way more action packed and the movement kind of goes with the video game-esque feel of it. So I do think the 4DX is worth your time. And you might be wondering, where's the Mufasa review? I know I'm kind of jumping all around. That's not going to happen until a week from today because vacation and things like that. And Mufasa's only showing a 140X showing. Just one at 10 a.m. in the morning when I get back. Anyway, so did I like Sonic the Hedgehog 3? I did. So you might be wondering what's better, 1, 2, or 3. Here's the thing. I've seen the first and second one, but nothing like really sticks out with me. I want to say the second one was in the pyramids or Peru or something like that. And the first one was more trying to get the relationship between humans and Sonic. This one is a lot more about losing friendship, losing family, and more having the cynical side of Sonic. And so that puts more depth into the movie because it's not just Sonic, it's not just the human character like James Marsden, it's also Jim Carrey and his grandpapa, and who are his actual friends, because that is another plot point for all three of them. Well, mostly Sonic, Knuckles and Tails, as well as Shadow, but then as well as the grandpapa character and Eggman and his assistant. So we do get those levels to it. The jokes. It is very meta. Is also like based in the real world because there is like Tom Cruise jokes. There are other jokes in this movie. And so I did dig that through in and throughout. Jim Carrey though, good God. It feels like, he just came out of retirement because, retirement, right? To do Sonic movies because he needs more money. And that just makes you wonder too. It's like, damn, what do these rich people spend their money on? Where it's like, you made so much freaking money, but you're just like, I still need more money. Downsize maybe, I don't know. What do I know? Who am I to tell Jim Carrey to do what he's supposed to do? Anyway, but he plays both parts fantastic. There's something that happens very funny at the very end where something happens to a character, like a bug zapper, that's all I'm going to say, and it had the whole theater freaking laughing and dying of how fun it is. This is kind of based in Japan and the States and space. So this is kind of a worldly movie when it comes to each character and where some of the battle sequences are. So the action, pretty good. The acting, great. The voice acting, solid as well. Keanu Reeves does a fantastic job as Shadow. Sonic voice actor Idris Elba as Knuckles. And I don't know who does Tails, pretty good. There is 2 credit scenes. There's a mid-credit and an end credit. The end credit, it's not that important. It's the mid-credit scene where there is going to be a 4th one, and we're adding more to the Sonic universe. So I'm not really the biggest Sonic person when it comes to like the video games. I did play through Sonic Frontiers, and I did kind of like that, even though I got really angry at the game for some of the camera movements and things like that. And you can kind of get that with this movie where it could be a little bit too sporadic, where yes, you see Sonic going back and forth, especially with Shadow, but it almost felt like, oh, that was a little quick. And I understand the quickness of why they want to do it, but also at the same time, it's like I kind of want to breathe in what is occurring, because the final battle sequence between Sonic and Shadow, it was really quick, kind of, I want to say out of frame, but everything that was happening was like a kind of a wide shot of like the aftermath, and not a lot of things happening in between. So I kind of felt a little bummed by the third act of that aspect of Sonic versus Shadow, because yeah, you get that, and you understand why Shadow is the way he is because of a Marie character when 50 years ago. There's a weird dance sequence, I'll put it that way, with Jim Carrey, Eggman, and his grandpapa. I didn't know what to think of it, but at the same time, I was laughing at the same time. Like, this is kind of feels out of place, but then it's like, it's Jim Carrey, so you're like, is it really out of place? Because that kind of brings back the whole Me, Myself, and Irene, The Liar, the Bruce Almighty Jim Carrey, where he's just like ridiculous. And it made me wonder how much of this is actually written and how much of this is actually improv. And what I think they do right with that and the director is they keep the cast steady and the director as well, because it's not like Star Wars where like, oh, we're switching directors every single movie, but we're going to keep it with Jeff Fowler for this one. And I know it's kind of weird. I'm glad they're just calling it Sonic 1, 2, 3 or Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, 3. Not all movies need like a subtitle like Wicked, For Good. Like, just, you call it the first one Part 1. You might as well just call the second one Part 2. You're just being silly. But yeah, other small negatives about this movie, I do think there are a little bit of lulls in this movie of what it's trying to do. And it is a little bit of a cynical-esque movie about revenge, where it's like, you think it would go somewhere, but it kind of stops with some of these characters. So it is what it is. But overall, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, it's a solid kids movie. It's a solid, I think anyone who likes Sonic as a franchise. I never really grew up on Sonic, so I don't really have this connection with Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, and things like that. But I do think it does the fan service correctly. It does the acting correctly, the action correctly. And it's just an overall just good time when you want to watch something that you could just, take your kids, have them be quiet, because there's a lot going on screen for them to be quiet. So Sonic the Hedgehog 3 will receive a 3.5 out of 5 Futons. It goes at 70%. So it's either critics and user scores gave this one. Critics, a 87%, went down with 69 of them. Critic consensus, with a double helping of Jim Carrey's antics and a quick silver pace befitting his heroes. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is the best entry in this amiable series yet. I mean, I would have to rewatch it, but I can see how some people might like this over all of them. And I have no quorums to say yes or no that is incorrect. So 87 and my 70. Wicked's at an 88. Come on, Sonic, beat Wicked. Anyway, Cheesecock here, the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One more thing, Booftopia. You Boof Tony, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Watch this take tomorrow, week, month, or year for every single freak one of you. Peace and love. And yeah, what I did like about Sonic Frontier, they had the voice of, who's that band? Sleeping with Sirens. He had some good rock songs in Sonic Frontier.